And welcome to WealthWise with me, your host, Jordan Kimmel. We have two special guests lined up. We're going to look forward to talking to Andrew Bellak from Stakeholders Capital. And we're also looking forward to Kate McCauley. She's over Wounded Warrior Family Support, a very important nonprofit, something that we really want to give a lot of airtime to, and we will over time. What I always like to do in the 5 minutes just to kind of lead up to the show is tell you what I'm thinking. And Todd over at Crosscheck has been putting out some talking points for the week ahead every week. I urge you to look at them. But more importantly, we want a big announcement right now. The inaugural issue of ProInvestor Insights is out right now. And this has been months in the work, really lining up some of the top professionals in the industry. So what we've done in our newsletter, this is ProInvestor Insight. You go to the site, proinvestors.co. What we've done is not only are we going to include my best ideas, which I love sharing the best ideas from Magnet Stock Selection, the best ideas from Facts, which continues to outperform the S&P. What we also have done is we've lined up industry well-known experts, probably some of the most famous people in the industry. We're going to have Forbes contributing their best ideas every month from their newsletters. We're going to have American Association of Individual Investors, one of my favorite groups, sharing some of their best ideas. We're going to have Louis Navalier with his insights. We're going to have Behind the Markets, which I think is a super insightful site. They cover lots of ground. They like to look at things, what's going on behind the markets. We also have one of my favorite actually stock graders. It's Market Grader International Securities. So the plan here was not for me to share my best ideas as if, mine are the only best ideas. What I've been in this industry for years and years, and in the industry, I sought out to meet every top newsletter, every top portfolio manager. These hundreds of shows of CNBC and Fox have led me to meet all these people. And we're really just getting lined up for the inaugural issue. We have 6 of my favorite contributors. Watch the list grow. It's available by subscription only if you want all the stock picks and you want all the meat behind it. But we'll let people read the articles. It's about education primarily. And what we thought about on the educational side is the following. We want everyone to be empowered. This newsletter is meaty, it's thorough, and there's some cost involved with it. But what we're going to do is we're going to throw it wide open to all students, to all active military. It's absolutely going to be free. Not a 50% off, not a 10% off. Free to all students, free to all active military. Free, in fact, to what we're going to bring on, the Wounded Warriors Family Support Project. We're going to blow it open to them for free. And even if you're if you are a military veteran, you've served our country, you've risked your life for my freedom and everyone else's, it's going to be $99 for the entire year. So what we want to do is we want to empower folks. We want to both give them fish and teach them how to fish. I'm really excited about the newsletter, as you could tell. And I am a contributor, but we're going to have great contributors, literally from bonds, from stocks, from real estate. We have Mark Grant from the income side. We're going to have some real estate specialists. We also will have some crypto specialists and some collectibles, people that specialize in collectibles. We want to kind of serve everybody. This is about empowering folks to not only read the headlines and buy the most popular stock of the day, to get a little deeper, a little bit more insightful. So it's Jordan Kimmel. We're going to be right back with Andrew Bellak from Stakeholders Capital. Really insightful. Wait to see what he does for clients. And we'll be right back following this quick break.
everyone. I'm Veronica Dudo, and welcome to Buy,
Hold, Sell. If you have the Russians that are going into Ukraine, the Americans and the Germans and everyone else in Europe is going to say, hell no.
If Russia doing things, logically was their MO, I'd agree with you. Yeah, Todd, why don't you get him on a phone call right now? Hello.
And welcome back to WealthWise with me, your host, Jordan Kimmel. And it's really a privilege to bring on both a friend and a colleague. It's Andrew Bellak, partner over at Stakeholder Capital, a Peregrine partner. And Andrew, thanks so much for joining us.
It's good to be here, but I thought I was expecting Kramer. I thought this was Mad Money.
Well, we're sorry to disappoint you. Sorry to disappoint you. This is an elevated discussion. It's not about shouting your best ideas. We actually let people talk their mind and make a point. And that's really, what we're all about. And so, Andrew, I just want to share, with the group itself, we met a while back. What interested me in you, and I think what interested you in me, is the fact is we're not really just following the stock of the day. You actually have a mission that you bring to your clients. I'll mention, I know you used to love the stock market itself, individual stocks. We'll take a minute on your history, but I think you've elevated and you've matured in the business. And now it's not the interest in the stock market, it's the interest in your clients and what you could do for them holistically, tax-wise, and socially as well. So again, thanks for joining us. And what I want to start with, take a minute because your experience in the industry puts you in a unique position to actually handle clients.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jordan. Yeah, you're right. I do see finance, investing, Wall Street as a tremendous force for good in the world. We have serious problems and challenges, and we can make money on the solutions. And so that's really the big picture here. Um, you know, Doing good is not limited to like what kind of batteries you use or what kind of car you drive or what kind of light bulbs or if you buy organic or not. Those are all helpful, but don't ignore the portfolio. I mean, it's a tremendous agent of change. So I started actually I was introduced to a friend through volunteering in New York City. And he was an options market maker on the American Stock Exchange when it existed back in the day in the 80s.
I remember it.
The building is still there, but it's not an exchange anymore. And I basically became his apprentice, and then we started hiring other traders and training them. And so I worked on the floor for about 10 years, and then eventually took my team to what was Spear Leeds and Kellogg at the time. And Spear Leeds and Kellogg was then acquired by Goldman Sachs, which became part of Goldman Sachs, derivatives division. Again, worked on trading desk, etc. 9/11 happened. Then my wife didn't want to live in New York City anymore, where we both grew up. And so we moved to lovely Western Massachusetts. And eventually I decided to combine the way we personally invested to share that with others, as well as my background, on the street. So kind of that's the short story.
No, it's a great story, and let me just dig a little bit deeper because we have a relationship that you saw that we created a model called Facts. It looks for the most trustworthy companies. It actually looks at not only what a company does, but how it does it. Whether it's stakeholder, whether it's about the community and the people, and so we actually took a long time to get started because I shared with you you have an even a deeper interest than I do, frankly, in the green side of things. We went from a governance side of things, thinking that, well, if you do the right thing, you're gonna think about pollution, you're gonna think about your community, you're gonna think about inputs and outputs and so on and so forth. So you've been invested in facts itself, but I want to allow you to really take it a little bit further personally, because you're a thought leader in this. You meet with other groups and funds, and the point is, we call it ESG for a minute. ESG got confusing to people, like how it ranks, what the things are. But you've been steadfast that that hey, companies can do it well. And actually, what we said with facts is they're more profitable. They don't have these gigantic lawsuits. So talk about your passion a little bit, and how you're serving clients just with the passion side, and then we'll get on to other things that I know you specialize in.
Yeah, so we started our company 15 years ago, our advisory practice. We chose the name Stakeholders Capital by design
Hmm.
because for anyone who knew what the word meant, we wanted them to know right from the beginning that we care about all the stakeholders, not just the shareholders, right? Shareholder primacy has been an incorrect assumption for many years, right? Um, and so we attract people who know what stakeholders means and want to apply that to their portfolio. And the script has flipped, right, since I started and since SRI, socially responsible investing, and ESG started. People used to think, and it was somewhat true, that you had to sacrifice returns, right? Oh no, I'm going to limit my choices and sacrifice returns. God forbid, right? Um, and now it's plainly obvious that if you understand an issuer better, including all their non-financial, extra financial,
Hmm.
attributes, of course you're going to know the company better or the municipality better or the state better or the country better, and you're going to mitigate risk, right? Aren't we always trying to maximize risk reward? Well, this does that. So it's just simply a better framework, a better research framework.
Well, you know what? We're both speaking to each other's choirs. We're playing the same notes, and I'll disclose for the audience that Andrew and several of his clients are invested already in Facts, which is a separately managed account which focuses on the highest quality companies that filter through every screen we do, which is facts oriented. And in our newsletter, Andrew, I mentioned at the top of the show, Pro Investors Insight came out this week, first edition. There's a great article on facts, and we remind people if it makes sense to them, they can actually have their money managed with this integrity piece, and you're doing it. And I'm going to really encourage you to join the newsletter, join us more frequently. I want to mention one other piece, though, before we wrap up today, is that you've come to me and said, listen, Jordan, we like the returns, we love the strategy. There's one other extra piece. Our clients, you've said, are very wealthy. You're not catering to beginning clients. You're handling estate planning, and taxes are super important. So not only can we perhaps be better than the market, be more uh, careful about what we invest in, but you also want to make sure that with these outside returns, you get to keep it. So you may want to just touch for a minute on your focus on the whole client, the estate planning, the tax planning, and not just what the hot stock or the hot sector is. You're beyond that.
Right. I think back in the day, right, my job didn't really exist. You know, there were stockbrokers, right? People just
Right.
call you, tell you some stock to buy or sell, and people got paid on commissions, and it's not like that anymore. Now the predominant model is, you advise clients on their assets and you earn a percentage of the assets you manage. And then still within that, there are certainly a whole school of advisors who are very investment focused, right? who think and try to beat the market. Okay. Perhaps a fool's errand, except in your case, I would say it is the exception, not the rule. We could get into that.
Thank you.
But we very much believe in the context and container of planning first and service first. And investments are just a key component of that to achieve whatever financial plan we create with our clients.
Right. And you know what? It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a tremendous amount getting to know your clients, not only, selling returns, but really selling service and the complete picture. And Andrew, this is why you've elevated to the spot in the industry. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to work with you. And let's get a lot more people understanding what stakeholder capital is all about, how to actually achieve it. And I want to thank you, and I want to also welcome you to our newsletter to contribute after the summer. Enjoy the summer, enjoy your family. It's great having you on WealthWise, and I know it's the first of many.
Good to be here. It's good to work with you. I appreciate this, and I feel like we are comrades in a struggle, in a mission, in a challenge, in a movement, right? We are using finance to improve the world, to improve our quality of life.
Right.
So,
And you said it,
bigger than both of us.
let me put a cherry on top of that. What our mission was when we started Facts initially was we knew that if companies can be recognized for doing the right thing and be the leaders in their industry, what's going to happen? They're going to get more capital, they're going to get more interest, and it's a virtuous cycle that just starts with understanding. And what you said to start things off is not forget about the problems, think about the problems, and let's think about solutions. And solution oriented, Andrew Bellak, partner over at Stakeholder Capital, Paragon client, a Paragon partner. And we really appreciate your time. See you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
USA, this is Stephanie.
Hi, this is Robert. I'd like to get up to 30% off my auto insurance with Safe Pilot.
I can help you with that. What's your member number?
87.
It should be between 5 and 12 digits.
Busted. This is Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. I'm not a member.
Mr. Gronkowski, USAA is for the military community and their families. That's what makes us special.
Oh, but I'm special.
USAA, it's still only for the military community.
And welcome back to WealthWise with me, your host, Jordan Kimmel. And it really is a special privilege. We're bringing on Kate McCauley, the president and CEO of Wounded Warrior Family Support. You've seen her all over the media for years doing important work for important people. And Kate, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jordan. It's a privilege to be here.
Well, thank you. And let me just share that, I grew up at a time of peace. I didn't serve. Incredibly indebted to everyone that ever did, that risked their lives, that put themselves in the front line for everyone else's freedom. Unfortunately, that comes with casualties. And the Wounded Warrior Family Support is there to help. And, Kate, let me just share, I know you've been around for 20 years, not only you, but the foundation itself. And there's a lot of different, services that pop up. We did some in-depth check. I know that your charity and your foundation have a tremendous ranking in terms of nonprofits, how the money gets to where it's supposed to get to. So with that said, why don't you share when you got involved, how you got involved, and where you folks are up to right now?
I would love to share that with you and your audience. As you mentioned, I'm the CEO and president. I was appointed about 3 years ago Our founder, Colonel John Folsom, was a retired Marine helicopter medvac helicopter pilot. So he was in Germany transporting the injured over into Germany. So the organization was actually founded by a bunch of kind of pass the hat type of command. Colonel Folsom noticed there was no linens, there was no towels, there were no sheets. Back in those days, when a soldier was injured, his clothes were immediately cut off. So there was nothing for them, especially comfort items. So he went back to his unit and he said, we've got to do something for these guys. And so the Wounded Warriors started at that time over in Germany, but since then has moved to the States about 20 plus years ago. Our first program was designed around the family. We want to try to keep the families intact when they get these type of severe injuries. And we're talking about missing limbs and also invisible wounds. And so kids see their parents differently when they come back from war. And so Colonel Folsom designed a resort type of program where we fly the families to Orlando. They stay for no cost and they get to reconnect and heal as a family. There's no agenda for the organization other than to have an all-inclusive trip for this family to reconnect. So that's kind of the ground roots of how the organization was established. Now, 20 years later, what doesn't make it, I mean, we've very strong values with our veterans. We have very close relationship with our veterans. And so we've been able to support veterans through the gaps that we identify in the VA system and the medical care system to allow for them to have a better quality of life.
Right. Just amazing. And you think about one day you're young and you're strong and you're running through the fields and you're fighting for your country, and the next day you can't. And it really is some powerful image. And I want to share, one of the programs that I've looked in depth at the website, and it says amazingly you've helped over 1 million families already.
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic. And you have one program called Mobility is Freedom. And when I get into my car later, I'll think of you and I'll think of the vets. But why don't you share the program itself?
Yeah, a lot of our veterans, if you can go back 20 years, so we're looking at over 20 years of injuries. So if you were 18, 19 and you enlisted, chances are you weren't married. And after an injury like they've sustained, they may never get married. They may never have a family. So there's a big, huge isolation for that type of population. We're looking at 20 years later, they're in their 30s, 40 year range. Some have young families, some families are divorced. So there's a lot of diversity as far as that goes. When they're injured, their mobility is also affected. They're not able to hop in the car and drive to the grocery store. We get up, we get in the morning, go to the gym, we take it for granted, but they lose out on their driving independence. And the only reason why they're losing out on the driving independence has to do with the almighty money, because it's so expensive for the vehicles. The vehicles run around $62,000 today, and you have to have a newer vehicle because of the technology, because of the modifications that are necessary for double quad amputees. We did a vehicle outfit for a gentleman that has half of a body, and his parents are actually hoisting him in and out of his bed every day. So they're caregiving for their son. And just to have that vehicle for him and the modifications, he's still a young man. He's very bright. He knows what's going on. He's just missing his limbs. And so being able to provide that to a family and to a veteran really gives that veteran the sense that America did not forget me. They didn't forget me. And even though it's been 20 years, a lot of their driving allowances through the VA, they may have already used them. Or what we're finding is the veteran does not know how to properly navigate the VA system in order to get an approval. So we work with a lot of that kind of stuff too. But we're very privileged. And I was thinking about this last night before our interview of how great the American people are to do this for us. So we can pass it forward to these veterans. We had 16 veterans last year that we were helped with mobility grants. Some of them are full grants where there's a truck and the vehicle and the modifications. A lot of big companies will sponsor us and we'll do like a truck handover at their company, and it gives them a sense to see, listen, this is what you've done for the veteran. The money's just not going out and being spent. It's being spent on a direct support of that veteran. He's getting a service or he's getting a vehicle. But there's a lot more stuff that we stay with our veterans as long as possible. They can use multiple of our services if necessary.
Well, Kate,
So,
that's fantastic. I just want to kind of share, what you're doing and pinpointing where the money's going and helping families. You can't imagine for, a better cause. And so let me tell you, I want to share, this might not be suitable for Wounded Warrior Family Support, but thinking about you and thinking about them, I'll actually have a really big idea that I want to kind of share. And it has to do with, I remember initially the first time I was in San Diego, and I said, what a fantastic, beautiful city. And I was struck by how many homeless veterans there are. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And so, there are other, initiatives now for home building, also for units that includes 100 different veterans and all their needs. So here's my thought, okay? We're giving as a country billions and billions of dollars to foreign aid, some of which is very warranted, some of which are to countries that burn the American flag. I never really understand that. But what if the US government and the people of America together and not build one or two facilities of 150 housing units? What if they built 1,000 of them all around the country, and every one of them housed 150 veterans that had special needs? And this, it's not a tremendous amount of money for the country. How we could have homeless veterans that are probably willing to bang nails and work on these projects themselves. So I know mobility freedom is one of your initiatives. I think somehow if we built 1,000 of these around the country, the jobs couldn't be outsourced around the world because these are construction jobs in America. And I don't know, I just think about, of all the people who walk this earth, the people who sacrificed, and even if they didn't get hurt, even if they served and never got hurt, but somehow came back, whatever their circumstances for being homeless, it's unacceptable in this country. I think we should build 1,000 of these facilities, and I'll work with any finance groups that wants to get behind this and do it together. What do you think of that?
I think it's a great idea. It's something that it has been on our radar for the last 7 years. And Colonel Folsom, just to let you know, he started another nonprofit organization. He founded the DunhamHouse.org, and that will be the first combat wounded veterans facility in Omaha, Nebraska. We'll break ground on that this year. And the reason why I mentioned that is because Wounded Warriors Family Support will be a primary funder to build. It's going to be about 30 units. It will be for combat wounded veterans that need some supportive help. And right now we're looking at a building cost of about $10 million. So it's by far not a cheap endeavor. We're not doing it with any government money. We're not really sure how to tap into that source. We do know there's a lot of money after it's built, but it has been on our radar for some time. What prohibits us from moving forward? Again, it's money, it's funding.
Money,
it always comes around the funding. But
right. Well, I'm really excited to hear that. I want to mention, we all know that the U.S. household wealth has hit an all-time high between stocks, bonds, real estate, what have you. There's plenty of money for this. I say not only build that one you're talking about, Kate, but let's build 99 more and start a movement. And the last thing I want to mention, for this segment right now is that, we just came out with a newsletter, and there's a lot of contributors to it, and it's expensive to produce, and it's an expensive actual offering itself. But thinking about this show and thinking about having you on, what we would like to do is not give a discount to Wounded Warrior Family Support members. It's going to be absolutely free to them.
Thank you.
They could just sign up. We'll provide the link, and then I'm going to take it further because I know you're helping some people, but our heart goes out to all the veterans in the country, and we're going to make this 100% free to all veterans of our military, free to your group. And and then I don't want to jump too far, but we're going to talk with the team, and maybe we should even talk about dedicating some of the proceeds from the newsletter. We would like to get behind Wounded Warrior Family Support. We appreciate what you're doing, and we don't want to offer a 1-year discount. It's going to be free for eternity for everybody that comes through your group, and we're going to try to get support you.
We appreciate that so much. This is so important for us because we are considered a smaller charity. We don't spend a lot of money on fundraising and outreach, and so being on this platform with you, so much appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Well, it shouldn't be money that gets in the way of the needs for veterans. I want to stop here before I get a little emotional. The ones that got really injured, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine coming home from war. It's got to be really difficult. So it's Kate McCauley. Kate, we really welcome you on the show. But I'm glad, I will mention, Mark Grant, who is, renowned investor in income, and he's already involved in, our ProInvestor Insights Newsletter, and he'll be involved. But he mentioned this group. You don't get enough mention and support. Let's start right here, and let's see how much we can do for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All righty, and thanks for the time today. I know we'll see you soon. It's Jordan Kimmel. We need to wrap up. It's WealthWise, and Kate McCauley, thanks again for your time today.
Thank you.
All righty, and just wrapping it up, we're excited about the newsletter coming out. It just came out this week. ProInvestorInsights.co. There's no M at the end. And we'll see you all soon on another segment of WealthWise. Thanks for joining us.